Mr. Mergen Ulanov. He graduated from the Kalmyk State University. He majored in history. He also defended his thesis on the topic Buddhism in the history of Russian philosophical thought of the late 19th, first half of the 20th centuries. In 2010, he defended his doctoral thesis on Buddhism in the socio-cultural space of Russia, socio-philosophical analysis. He is a member of the Russian Philosophical Society and the Russian Sociological Society named after Kovalevsky. He is the author and co-author of more than 200 scientific publications on religious studies, including 10 monographs. Mergen Ulanov, Doctor of Philosophy, Professor of Philosophy and History. Hello once again to all our friends, to all the like-minded people. I would like to greet you. And I also, first of all, would like to thank all of you. I thank Ms. Shabornikova for this great congress. It is indeed very difficult to organize such an event. The times are very trying, and it is really difficult to organize an event of this sort. And I also would like to congratulate everyone on the anniversary. Today, we've already said that Madame Blavatsky, who is our compatriot, is very important for us. For those who live in Kalmykia, she is all the more important. For quite a long time, she lived in Kalmykia, in the Kalmyk steppe, in the Astrakhan region as well. Her grandfather was a very important figure for the Kalmyk people. Madame Blavatsky herself wrote that among those who were raising her in her childhood were Buddhists. And right when she was a child, she got a chance to get familiar with the Buddhism of those who lived in Kalmykia. Madame Blavatsky was an indigo child right from the very age. She had lots of skills and abilities, and her grandfather took her to various churches and temples. And she, of course, had a chance to visit lots of monuments and places of significance. It is quite interesting that one of the places that she visited was a place where she actually started learning about Buddhism. She got to know Kalachakra Tantra, and she learned about the teachings of Asharma right from her early childhood. Helena Petrovna was initiated to some of the Buddhist teachings, including the esoteric teachings that have to do with Shambhala. And for me, of course, Helena Petrovna Blavatsky is a significant figure. I must say that today, modern Buddhists have respect towards Helena Blavatsky. And I know that people who travel to Sri Lanka, for example, tell these stories that Buddhists in Sri Lanka respect Madame Blavatsky to this day. They respect Colonel Olcott as well. They do remember that it was Madame Blavatsky and her followers who helped to revive Buddhism in Sri Lanka. The spiritual leader of all the Buddhists of the world, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, the 14th Dalai Lama, who is well known to be a humanist, he also highly values the work of Madame Blavatsky. Vsevolod Ovchinnikov is a writer who visited Dalai Lama a long time ago. And the fact is that The Dalai Lama said that he was so glad to meet the compatriot of Madame Blavatsky. And moreover, the Dalai Lama also visited the headquarters of the Theosophical Society. And one of the books say about that meeting that this visit to the Theosophical Society was very important. This was the place where I had a chance to see an entire group of people who was trying to unite all religions and science. I was interacting with these people and I realized the significance of their work. And then I came back to Tibet in 1957. At that time, it turned out that I became a different person. And I was convinced that it is Buddhism that is the only true religion. So in this way, I must say that Theosophy had a great significance. His Holiness today thinks that it is very important to revive Buddhism, but he also supposes that it is necessary to revive the mutual understanding among the religions of the world. There is yet another important point in his work. He aims to establish harmony among those who work in science and in religion and many other fields. For this reason, what we see today is that the modern Buddhism is welcoming the modern science. Lots of delegations, including delegations from Russia, a lot of prominent Russian scientists visit India regularly. They meet the Dalai Lama, they meet the Tibetan philosophers, and they hold talks. And all this is, of course, is possible thanks to the ideas established by Helena Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society. Now, I would like to start my report on the role of women in spreading the ideas of Buddhism in the West. I'll be short. I'll just would like to outline my ideas. The Western society started to see a growing interest towards Buddhism in the middle of the 19th century. The Europeans at that time started to learn a lot about that. Of course, at that time, rationalism and Eurocentrism were dominating in Europe, but the world was becoming more democratic and more open. And of course, this interest towards Buddhism was also happening on the background of general changes in the relations between the West and the East. And the East was no longer considered as something that is culturally irrelevant. And there are very important people who said at that time that the Buddhist culture is very important. There were several channels through which the knowledge on Buddhism came to Europe. And part of this channel is related to the Theosophical Society. Madame Blavatsky was one of the first people who brought the ideas of Buddhism to the West. And there were lots of books dedicated to Buddhism, and most of these books were about science, they were academic. However, Madame Blavatsky managed to show the significance of this knowledge. She managed to show the human side of this knowledge. And the work of Madame Blavatsky was a significant contribution to the revival of Buddhism in Ceylon. As we know, Buddhism had very hard times at that time on Ceylon. And there was the revival of Buddhism thanks to her work. Colonel Alcott also contributed to the foundation of Buddhist schools in Sri Lanka. Colonel Alcott also wrote lots of important books. They're very important for the revival of Buddhism. The Theosophical Society indeed contributed a lot to the revival of Buddhism, but not only in Sri Lanka, but also in India and across the world. Buddhism had difficult times. At that time, lots of Buddhist countries were colonies. Missionaries from Pakistan and many other countries came to the Buddhist countries, and they were trying to root out Buddhism at that time. And of course, at that time, the help provided by the Theosophical Society was of greatest importance. And for this reason, people from Sri Lanka still remember the contribution made by Madame Blavatsky and the Theosophical Society. And of course, this is how this knowledge then came to the Western countries. Many researchers thought that Blavatsky's Buddhism is not entirely correct. Emil Bournouf, for example, wrote once that the translations of Buddhist books and the translations that were made by the Theosophical Society are Buddhist in their nature. Such Buddhologists as Humphrey, Sankarashita, Weyman, they underlined that they got interested in Buddhism thanks to the work of the Theosophical Society and Madame Blavatsky. The teaching of Blavatsky was accepted as Neo-Buddhism by some of the people. Madame Blavatsky at the same time said that there is a special identity of the ethics of Theosophy and Buddhism, and she supposes that the ethics is the soul of Theosophy. And she says that Buddha was the very first one to preach this secret and special ethics to the world. And it was Buddha who made it so significant. And this is how Theosophy differs from many other traditions. Madame Blavatsky said that Buddha was the most perfect mortal being. She also paid a lot of attention to the esoteric side of Buddhism. She said that esoteric philosophy is something that can protect people. And she said that esoterical school is something that unites all of the religions. The esoterical aspect is one of the most important aspects. It is related to Tantra, it is related to the teachings of Shambhala. There is also something else that I would like to add. One of the most important people in India in the 20th century wrote in his book that Theosophical Society contributed a lot to the Indian culture. And the influence of the Theosophical Society on India was immense. And the government of India even ordered a special postal stamp, a stamp that has a slogan on it. The slogan says, "There is no religion higher than truth." And of course, the Theosophical Society also contributed to the popularization of Buddhism. It helped to spread the ideas of Buddhism. The chair of the Russian Theosophical Society very often referred to these theosophical ideas to the Buddhist ideas. We also need to say that in Russia there was another woman who was very important in the spreading of Buddhism ideas, and I'm talking about Helena Rohrig. She was trying to spread the Buddhist knowledge to the West. And it also showed that it is indeed possible that these two cultures, the Western and the Eastern, can meet. The teachings of the Rohrigs are considered to be the continuation of the theosophical work, and many consider Agni Yoga and Theosophy be one and the same teaching. Helena Rohrig also wrote an important book, The Foundations of Buddhism. And this book became known in very important times. I was a 17-year-old student, and I was captured by this book. It got me very interested in studying Buddhism. This is a book that that helped me to get interested in Buddhism. These people were also very important during the reformist movements, during the times of the renovationist movements that was happening in the 1920s. And the ideas of Helena Rohrig proved to be very important. There were attempts to make Buddhism more philosophical, to make it more accessible. And there were also attempts to declare freedom from dogmas. There were attempts to make this teaching more open. All these ideas were the ideas voiced by Helena Rohrig. And just as Madame Blavatsky, Helena Rohrig also valued Buddha and respected him highly. And she also showed that Buddha is the greatest teacher of the world. Helena Rohrig said that Buddhism is not a revelation as such, because Buddhism is learning of eternal truth. These truths were known, but they were forgotten. And Helena Rohrig was saying that Buddhism is a doctrine that does not accept any idolatry. It proclaims the ideas of equality, of kindness. Helena Rohrig also considered that Buddhism is very close to the modern science. Buddhism has ideas of multiple worlds, of the evolutionary development, and so on. These are the ideas that are Buddhist ideas, and these ideas are confirmed by science today. For this reason, Helena Rohrig was of high opinion about Buddhism. She thought that this is an important teaching. Rohrig's approach to Buddhism was very close to the approach that Madame Blavatsky had. The family of Rohrigs was the family that helped to overcome the Eurocentrism of those times. And of course, Helena Rohrig also was the mother of great sons, Svetoslav and Yuri Rohrig. Yuri, by the way, was also a person who further contributed to spreading the knowledge on Buddhism. During the Soviet times as well, he published a book that contained the foundations of the Buddhist teachings. And of course, for this reason, we need to highly value the family of the Rohrigs. Of course, lots of other women contributed to the spread of Buddhism in the West. Carolina Busta and Miss Davis were the ones who spread the knowledge of Buddhism in the West. She was involved in translations, and she was also very available for the spread of the Buddhist ideas. Then Humphrey's family was also a family that contributed to the spread of the Buddhist knowledge. They also contributed to the foundation of the Buddhist society in the West. At first, they founded the London Buddhist Society, and this society published the Middle Way journal. I also would like to say that there were lots of classical psychologists who contributed to the spread of Buddhism in the world. I'm not even going to mention Fromm and others. There was also Madame Horney, who contributed to this cause. And as you know, there is also a great Buddhologist, Suzuki, whose knowledge she spread. She went to Japan several times, she stayed there, and she was fascinated by learning Zen Buddhism. And she dedicated herself to find common ground between Buddhism and psychology and psychoanalysis. Starting from the second half of the 20th century, Buddhism is very widespread in Europe and in the United States. And Buddhism starts taking a different form at that time. But the society at that time was, of course, ready because they were influenced by the Theosophical Society. And the feminism ideas were spreading at that time as well. And the gender equality is also a very important idea in the West. Buddhism is widespread in the West today. There are lots of famous women in this area. They study Buddhism. They preach Buddhism. And today, the Dalai Lama also focuses a lot on empowering women. This means that today the topic of gender equality, of women empowerment, is becoming more and more popular among Buddhists. To conclude, I would like to thank everyone, to congratulate everyone with this important event. I also would like to wish you health in all respects, both spiritual and physical health. The Dalai Lama says that we're now entering a very difficult period, a difficult that will be characterized with lots of diseases. This is a very challenging time for our health. For this reason, we need to remember about our spiritual and mental health. And I think that this is what our Congress today aims to do. We aim to be in harmony. I thank you once again, and I congratulate you once again. Thank you, everyone. We thank you very much. We thank you very much for your report. We greet all of your colleagues, and we greet you as well.